Okay, so tonight we're in a slightly different room. We're in our guest room. I think someone is missing his grandparents who come to visit next week. And this is where they usually sleep. And usually he does this when he knows that they're coming soon. So we've been talking about it and getting him ready for the fact that they'll be here next weekend. All right? You ready to see your Abu Nando? Yeah, you miss him. I miss him too, but we'll see him soon. Okay? So tonight, we're continuing our story. What? Oh, we gotta do your fingers first again? Okay, hold on. Oh, that was a good crack. Is that better? Okay. All right. So we're continuing on in our story, right? That's not where we're starting from. We left off with Into the Pit from Genesis 35, 27 to 29, and 37, 1 through 26. Oh, my throat's so raw from being sick. Jacob's hand trembles as he shades his eyes and looks toward the distant city of Hebron. Is this where my grandfather Isaac lives? Yes, Joseph. I pray we are not too late. He is very old. Jacob's prayers are answered. At the sight of his blind and aged father, he falls to his knees. Oh, Father, I am your son Jacob. Thank God I am with you again. Jacob, my son, I have prayed for your return. Do you have children now? Proudly, Jacob presents his 12 sons to their grandfather. Father, these are Joseph and Benjamin, the sons of my beloved Rachel. Be strong, my children, and obey God always. When Isaac dies, Jacob takes over as head of the tribe. Word is sent to Esau, who comes to help Jacob bury their father. As soon as Esau leaves, Jacob calls his sons to him. There is not enough pasture land for all of our flocks. We will take some of them to Shem. Maybe. I don't know. I'm trouble with these old names. May I go with my brothers to tend the flocks? No, Joseph. Stay here with me. I have something for you. See how father favors Joseph. He always has. Now he may train him to rule the tribe. I'll never take orders from Joseph. When the older sons are gone, here, Master Joseph, is the coat your father had made for you. For me, why, it's just like a chieftain's robe. Now, when the older sons return, they are jealous of Joseph's coat. Then he tells them about his dreams. Last night I dreamed we were binding sheaves, and all of your sheaves bowed down to mine. Bow down to him? Never. How? Why? Don't do that. It's not nice. Okay, that's not nice. Still later, Joseph has another dream. I dreamed the sun and moon and stars bowed to me. What? Shall your parents and brothers serve you? Jacob soon forgets his own anger towards Joseph, but the second dream whips the older brother's hatred into a burning rage. Several days later, the brothers are tending the sheep some distance from camp, and Jacob sends Joseph to see how they are getting along. Here comes the dreamer. I've had enough of his talk. Let's get rid of him. Slave train to Egypt. From Genesis 37, verses 27, 36 to 36, and 39, verses 1 through 20. Thrown into a deep pit by his jealous brothers, Joseph waits helplessly while they decide his fate. See that caravan coming? We could sell them Joseph as a slave. That would get rid of him. So the brothers pull Joseph out of the pit and drag him to the caravan. The boy is our slave. What will you give us for him? He's a handsome one. Should bring a good price in Egypt. He looks soft. I'll give you 20 shekels. But I'm... Keep still, slave. It's a deal. Take him. The caravan is well out of sight by the time Reuben returns. Where is Joseph? What have you done to him? We sold him to some traders. Their caravan is going to Egypt. Here's your share of the money. Sold him? Oh no. What will you tell father? We'll smear Joseph's coat with goat's blood and let father think he was killed by a lion. Back in camp, the brothers carry out their cruel plan. We found this bloody coat. Is it? It's Joseph's. The lion must have killed him. Oh, Joseph, my son, my son. While Jacob is still mourning the death of his beloved son, Joseph is sold again as a slave in Egypt. Look, this boy is strong and handsome. He'd make a fine slave, even in the king's palace. How much am I bid? That doesn't even... Okay. Someone says 30 shekels. I am a slave. Oh God, please help me. And so Jacob's favorite son becomes the slave of Potiphar, captain of the king's guard. But Joseph does not beg for pity. He puts his trust in God and holds his head up proudly. Good slave for 30 shekels. He doesn't have the manner of a servant. Tell me more about him. Some trader has brought him down from Canaan. He's strong, intelligent too, and handsome. In the right clothes, he'd pass for a prince. Years pass, and Potiphar makes Joseph manager of all his property. Things are better with Joseph in charge. He prays every day, asking his God to help him. But Joseph's success also leads to trouble. Potiphar's wife falls in love with the handsome young slave. One day, while Potiphar is away, Joseph, come sit beside me. Tell me where you came from and why you are in Egypt. Thank you, but I have work to finish before Potiphar returns. Must you always think of Potiphar? He is my master. I will not be untrue to him or disobey my God. No man can scorn me and live. She bides her time. When Potiphar returns, she greets him with tears in her eyes and a lie on her lips. Your Hebrew slave tried to kiss me. I screamed and he left, but he dropped his robe. Here, see it? Golly. Mm. Gosh. I'll throw him in prison for this. Before the sun sets that day, Joseph is chained and thrown into the king's prison. Oh, what a handsome prisoner we have with us. When he's been here as long as I have, he'll forget what it's like to wear such fine, clean clothes. The king's dream, from Genesis 39, verses 21 to 23, 40, 41, 42, verses 1 through 6. Falsely accused, Joseph faces his first night in prison. But he is not afraid. And he is not alone because God is with him. Joseph prays, as he has done every other night in his life. But God can save him now. Leave him alone. He is braver than the rest of us. One long, hot day follows another. The prisoners quarrel over food, water, the best place to sleep. One day a fight breaks out. Stop it. Fighting won't help us. Even in prison, God is with Joseph. When the keeper of the jail learns Joseph is a leader, he puts Joseph in charge of the other prisoners. My hair. It's getting in my eye. One day, the king's baker and butler are thrown into prison for offending the king. Both men have dreams that trouble them, and they come to Joseph for help. What do you think my dream meant? In 3 days you will be the king's butler again. When that time comes, please say a good word for me. Now tell me what your dream means. Oh no, now tell me what my dream means. I'm sorry, but the dream shows you will be hanged in just 3 days. Joseph's words come true. 3 days later, one man dies, and the other one returns to serve the king. But he forgets his promise. 2 years go by. You called, O king? Yes. There is no one in my whole kingdom who can tell me what my dream means. I must find out. O king, I know a Hebrew prisoner who can tell the meaning of dreams. He told mine. Bring him to me at once. The butler wastes no time in having Joseph released from prison. He kneels before the Pharaoh of Egypt. Is it true you can tell the meaning of dreams? Not I, but my God gives me the answer. O Pharaoh, tell me your dream. I saw 7 fat cows come out of the Nile River. After them came 7 lean cows that ate the fat ones. God is warning you that there will be 7 years of good crops, followed by 7 years of famine. Let Pharaoh appoint a wise officer to store grain during the 7 good years. Then there will be food for all during the 7 years of famine. Who is wiser than you, since God is with you? Pharaoh quickly summons the officers of his court. As they watch, he puts his own ring on Joseph's finger. I have put you in charge of all of Egypt. Only I, Pharaoh, will be greater than you. From the throne room, Joseph goes to his own room and kneels in prayer, thanking God for protection and guidance. Joseph orders the people to start preparing for the famine. He becomes famous, and all rejoice when he marries the beautiful daughter of the priest of On. I am proud to be your wife, Joseph. You have done so much for our people. There is more to be done, my dear. The years of plenty will pass quickly. All too soon the famine begins. As it continues, people from other countries come to Egypt seeking food. One day, tribesmen from Canaan enter Joseph's city. In order to buy grain, they appear before the governor of Egypt. They bow before him. My brothers, they do not recognize me after all these years. Trouble in Egypt. From Genesis chapter 42, verses 6 to 38. The 10 sons of Jacob stand before the governor of Egypt, not knowing that he is Joseph, the brother they sold into slavery years ago. But Joseph recognizes his half-brothers and decides to find out whether they have learned to be kind and merciful. You are spies. No, my lord. We are 10 of the sons of the great chieftain Jacob. He sent us to buy grain. 10 sons. How many more sons does your father have? He had 12. The youngest, Benjamin, is home with our father. The other one died long ago. I still say you are spies. Guards, take them to prison. Why should he think we are spies? I don't know, but it was strange that the governor wanted to know how many sons our father had. Hours pass. The brothers try to understand what has happened, but never once do they suspect that their brother Joseph is the governor. On the 3rd day, the brothers are once more brought before Joseph. You may buy grain, but to make sure you are not spies, I will hold one of you in prison until your youngest brother is brought to me. Me in prison? This must be punishment for what we did to Joseph long ago. I told you not to harm him. Has it taken you all these years to regret the evil you did that day? The one brother, Simon, is quickly bound and taken to prison as a hostage. Frightened and eager to leave Egypt, the other brothers hurry to the storehouse for grain. Pay me first, and I'll fill your sack. Hi, what's going on here? Oh boy. Hi. Hi. Oh my goodness. What's that? Yeah. Mommy can't read like this. Yeah. Is that what you want? You want me to stop reading? Well, I can't do that. Okay. Hi, Athena. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, silly boy. Okay. The grain sacks filled. The brothers leave Egypt at once. That night, as they set up camp, look, the money I paid for the grain. It's a trap. I tell you, there's something mysterious about everything that's happened since we came to Egypt. I'd never go back except that we left Simon there in prison, and Benjamin is the only one who can set him free. Who knows? Maybe next time we come, the governor will keep Benjamin or one of us. For days, as the caravan travels northeast, the brothers worry about what their father will say. Back home, they proudly show their father how much grain they've bought. Look, the money is in my sack too. And mine. What is this? Money in your grain sacks? And where is Simon? In prison in Egypt. And Simon in prison? Why? Speak up. What happened? The whole trip was very strange, Father. The governor said we were spies. He put us all in prison. Then he released all of us, but Simon has to stay there until we take Benjamin to Egypt. Benjamin to Egypt? Never. My son Joseph has been dead these many years. Now Simon is lost to me. I will not part with Benjamin. But Father, what about Simon? Yes, what about Simon? And what about us? The grain runs out, and we have to go to Egypt again. We can't go without Benjamin. The grain is used sparingly, but one day Jacob's hungry tribe has to face the truth. The grain is almost gone. What shall we do? The stolen cup. From Genesis chapter 43, verses 1 through 44. Oh, from chapter 43, verse 1 to chapter 44, verse 12. Okay. Jacob, the old chieftain, faces a hard decision. But why should the governor of Egypt hold Simon in prison until he sees Benjamin? What does he want with my youngest son? Nobody knows. But if I don't go, Simon will die in prison, and we will starve. I must go, Father. I must. Benjamin is right. Then go. Take double the amount of money for grain. Take gifts to the governor, and may God be merciful to us. Days later, Jacob's sons lead their pack animals through the gates of the Egyptian city. Don't worry, Benjamin. We'll do everything we can to protect you. I am not afraid. God will take care of us here, just as he did in our fields at home. They enter the courtyard of the governor, who they do not know is their brother Joseph. We are the sons of Jacob, come again for grain. When we returned home from buying food, we found money in our sacks. We brought that money with us, and more to buy more grain. My master knows you have come. Wait here. Simon! Oh, Benjamin, thank God you came. You all right? Yes, but I was afraid you'd never come. The prison was dark and lonely. All I could think of was the evil I had done in my life. Forget the past, Simon. We are 11 brothers, and we will stick together. Then, to their surprise, the brothers are led into a great banquet hall. The governor of Egypt stands waiting. Is your father well? Yes, your excellency. And is this your youngest brother? Yes, this is Benjamin. The sight of his own brother Benjamin reminds Joseph of their mother who died when Benjamin was born. Suddenly he cannot face his half-brothers. He turns and leaves the room. What happened? Alone, Joseph conquers the grief that overcame him. He returns to the banquet hall to continue the plan to test his brothers. They are seated, and the food is served. But even this presents a mystery. Do you notice we are seated according to age? I tell you, this man knows too much about us. What is he up to? But even as they wonder, the governor has the brothers served, giving the largest portion to Benjamin. It is a sign of great honor. Do you see that? At least Benjamin is safe. The banquet ends. The next morning, the brothers buy their grain and leave, but they are hardly out of the city before the chariot overtakes them. Stop! One of you has stolen my master's silver cup. Your master's cup. We are innocent. Search us if you will. If the cup is found, the man in whose sack it is hidden shall become my master's slave. One by one, the sacks are searched. At last, the officer opens Benjamin. The cup. All right, we'll finish with this one. Joseph's secret. From Genesis 44, verse 13 to 45, verse 26. I never saw it before. Never. It's a mistake. I tell you, he didn't steal it. My orders are to bring back the man who had the cup. You there, get in the chariot. Hey. We'll go back with you, Benjamin. Back in the city, the face of the angry governor of Egypt. Did you think you could steal from me and get away with it? The one in whose bag the cup was found shall be my servant. The rest of you may return to your father. If Benjamin does not return home, our father will die of grief. Let me be your slave instead of Benjamin. For a moment there was silence. Then the governor turns to his guards. Go, leave me alone with these men. The frightened brothers wait. Finally Joseph speaks. I can't keep the secret any longer. I am your brother Joseph. You sold me as a slave many years ago. God has blessed me richly. Now we are together again. Joseph! He must hate us. What will he do? I believe it was God's will that you came to Egypt to save your lives and the lives of others in this famine. We don't deserve God's mercy, Joseph. Can you forgive us? I forgave you all years ago, but I had to be sure you had changed. When you showed your loyalty and your love for our father, I knew you had. The famine will last 5 more years. Go back home and bring our father to be near me, and I will provide for all of you. Thank God for a brother like you. When Pharaoh hears the news, he calls for Joseph. Give your brothers wagons so they can bring their families and your father to live in Egypt. Loaded with supplies and gifts, the happy caravan sets out for home. When they approach Jacob's camp, some of the brothers run ahead to tell the good news. Father, Father, we have news. Joseph is alive. He's the governor of all of Egypt. Jacob rises to greet his sons, but when he hears Joseph's name, he sinks back. Joseph, alive? I can't believe it. Let's see, does this continue the saga? Yeah, we're with them for a little bit longer. Okay. So we're going to end there for tonight. And tomorrow we'll pick up on Genesis 45, verse 27. All right. Crazy little boy. All right. You tired, Poppins? Anyway, bye. No? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, good girl, Athena. All right. Good night.